So there's nothing really that special about how I set up my winter cover for my Catalina 22. Basically, I store my mast on top of the boat, built a little crutch, and put pads everywhere. I feel like there's going to be a pressure point. And when I draped my winter cover over the boat, I didn't like the way the cover was putting pressure on the stanchions. I opted to take the lifelines off the boat entirely and punctured some holes in the cover so that the stanchions would come through the cover. Now, of course, that's going to let some water in. So what I did is I duct taped these gaskets, if you will, around the stanchions. I sealed the stanchions with those anti-fatigue mats that you get at like Harbor Freight. They're like $10 or something like that. And you can kind of see it in this picture right here, the way that those anti-fatigue mats are sort of pressed through, sealing off any water and ice and stuff like that will get in there. Some stuff does get through, but it's not that bad. Nothing that's going to do any kind of damage to the boat. And that's really it for my winter cover. It's not that special. I just kind of then cinch it around the bottom of the boat, and I let kept the batteries in there and let the solar panels charge the batteries throughout the winter. Once the boat was covered, I could turn my attention to the keel. Luckily, I have a garage where I can work on the keel, set it up and leave it. I built this doorway basically to hang a hoist for the keel. I put some PVC pipe around the pin to not damage it, and I used the old keel cable wrapped around a 4x4 to raise up the keel. 4x4 does work. That and some heavy-duty chain. So luckily, my keel was in really great shape. So I suggest if you buy a Catalina 22, buy one that has a keel that's in great shape. The only thing I really needed to do to this keel was touch up the bottom. So I gave it a little bit of a light sanding, ground out a little bit of the rusty parts, and then I used a basic rust-adhering Rust-Oleum paint. I looked into some really expensive options that I could have purchased from Pettit. What I can say is that after 2 years of sailing this boat, the Rust-Oleum paint on the bottom of the keel worked great. So I used this Rust Metal Primer by Rust-Oleum, then added a little bit of Total Boat fairing compound to get a nice crisp edge on the keel. Once, of course, the paint was dried. Had to do a couple of layers of this just to get the form just right. I have to say, I love that Total Boat product. They don't sponsor any videos or anything like that, but it is a great product. So once I had it applied across the leading edge of the keel, once the fairing compound was dry, I could sand it into the shape that I wanted for my keel. Gave it a little bit of a point. Once I had the leading edge done, I sanded down the rest of the keel, exposing previous fairing jobs on this keel. Again, the keel was in great shape. I have to say I didn't really have to do much. And again, I recommend buying a boat that has a keel that's in great shape. I obviously know you can't control that, but I also had a big scratch in the keel where the keel pin went. So I took some time to repair that as well. Put some shims on the keel. That's another video you can check out. And let it sit there basically for a few months until I was ready to put on a barrier coat and properly paint the keel, which happened later in the spring. And I have another video about that I'll be posting later on. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Ring the notification bell for future videos. Hope this helped.